It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I am the host for your show. Our podcast may be listened to on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and any place you listen to podcasts. I am so very excited today to welcome back a diva, Deanne Riendeau. And she is with me, and she is going to speak about the meaning of life, which, oh, man, sparks my interest completely. Deanne, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself?
Thank you so much, Joyce. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this talk around the meaning of life. I myself have been seeking the meaning of life my whole life, and I experienced a life full of chronic illness. I actually had a couple near-death experiences as well, which I'll speak to throughout the session. And what that did for me is it compelled me to go into healthcare. So I spent 20 years in the healthcare system in different facets. I've been both on the Western medicine side of healthcare, but I've also been on the holistic side of healthcare, because as I went through my journey, I realized that there was so much more to the healing process than what I thought there was. And so I created a company called Your Holistic Earth about 6 years ago now, and that organization is all about helping people to connect with their mind, body, and spirit. And the beauty in starting this organization and really founding a holistic healthcare system was, as I went through that journey, I kept finding I was led back to spirit. And I kept finding I kept getting led back to my soul. And I thought, there's got to be something here. There's got to be something more. And so I started doing soul work. And in that process and in that journey, I realized the foundation of meaning. I realized where that meaning could be found. And guess what? It was in the soul. And so I now do spiritual work with other people. I use something called the Akashic Records, which again I'll speak about in terms of connecting people with their soul so that they can understand meaning for themselves. So that's a little bit about my background. I also happen to be a mom of two delightful kids, one of which has it's her 10th birthday today, so happy birthday, Sloan. And my son, Beckett, is 7. And I've been all over the place speaking about consciousness, speaking about that connection with our spirituality. And I am just so delighted to be here today, Joyce.
Oh, thank you so much for that intro. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm just overwhelmed. Oh, how exciting. You are doing so much for other people and helping in so many ways. Oh, that is just fantastic. Well, looking here, I see that you are the founder of the first holistic healthcare system in the world. Oh, my, Jan, that is incredible. And can you go into a little more explanation to our listeners about holistic healthcare, kind of continuing on from your bio?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking that, because a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean? What's a holistic healthcare system mean? So, again, this was birthed out of my own experience having chronic illness, having worked in Western medicine. I used to actually, my first career in medicine was as an EMT, so I worked on ambulance. And I remember we got a call one day to a 42-year-old woman who was having a heart attack. By the time we got there, she was in cardiac arrest, so her heart had stopped beating and she was not breathing. We got IVs on her. We got medication into her. We were doing compressions. We worked on her for almost an hour. And even at the hospital, I had this hope that, like, she's 42, she can do this, we're going to help her, we're going to save her. And I was 19 years old at the time, and I was the one that had to go and tell her husband that she didn't make it. And I remember feeling so deeply in that moment that I was on the wrong side of healthcare. I felt that there had to be this prevention piece, that there had to be a broader approach to our healthcare. And so that's when I started going down this path in uncovering that there was a lot more to this holistic world. And once I started dabbling, because I knew Western medicine well, but once I started going beyond that, I started to see all these incredible practitioners and these modalities. And a lot of these modalities weren't proven by science, but let me tell you, they had a profound effect on me. And so I learned to get a little bit more trusting in what my body was feeling and how it was responding to whatever therapy that was, regardless of the scientific studies that were out there. And so it opened me up to this whole nother world. And I'm not saying that scientific studies are not important, but case studies around holistic medicine, there are tons of them. And so there is such power in these holistic practices, and I'm talking acupuncture, naturopathy, homeopathy, Reiki, spiritual work, all of those types of modalities. And as I went through my journey and healed myself, by the way, I was just cleared of fibromyalgia this week from my physician after having been diagnosed 7 years ago. And so as I started to explore these profound modalities, I saw the value, and I thought, there is something here. Why isn't holistic healthcare readily accessible to the average person? Why isn't it recognized? Why doesn't it have the credibility that I really do believe it deserves? And so that was where this kind of concept birthed of creating a holistic healthcare system so that people can see it as a professional area. They can see it as a very strongly beneficial area for their own wellness and health, and to support those amazing businesses and health practitioners that are doing that work. And so I launched this program with two branches of it. Essentially, there was a public branch where it was about accessibility, it was about advocacy, and about awareness regarding these holistic practices, because a lot of people just didn't know what was out there, right? And so we started education programs, and we started a subsidy program so people who couldn't afford it could get access to the care. And then on the other branch of what we do, we started to realize that these beautiful heart-centered health businesses that so deeply wanted to serve and help others heal, they were struggling. They were struggling to run businesses. They were struggling to make ends meet. And so we created a very comprehensive program to support them and for them to have opportunities to have exposure, to speak, to educate, and to grow their businesses. And so this essentially is the holistic healthcare system I'm speaking to, in which we can create the opportunities for them. So very different from our existing healthcare system, in which, we pay taxes towards, and then that money gets funneled into the physicians and the nurses. We can't just plug in a massage therapist into that system and they get paid, right? They have to earn it themselves. And so, we've really tried to support them in doing those types of things. So that, in essence, is your holistic earth. And one of the things that we really encourage, of course, is prevention, but we really encourage that holistic approach of mind, body, and spirit. And spirit is more important than you think. Let me tell you, soul and spirit have been the key that has unlocked everything for me in terms of manifestation, abundance, and living a really incredible life.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that is just incredible. Oh, I just love all of that. Wow. You are so welcome. Thank you for sharing all of that information. Oh my goodness. Well, I went to your Holistic Earth site, and I love that in your Holistic Earth you say, we support, we guide, you thrive. I'm like,
yes.
Oh my goodness. That says so much in such short little words of what you are doing and what the recipient will receive to thrive. Oh, goodness. And then one other statement I just loved. Others have improved their health, increased their energy, and found what sparks joy in their life. Oh, man. I just thought that was beautiful. We all seem to be looking for more energy and more joy in our life. So, oh, how incredible. Definitely. Well, and also going in there, I saw where it says join now for free. Can you kind of explain to our listeners to get involved by joining now, what's for free?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So we welcome anyone to be part of our community. You see, my belief is that we are put on this earth to be in service to one another. And when we come from that space, from that very deep heart-centered space, we then are able to lift each other up. We're able to raise the vibration of the global consciousness, if you will. And so anybody can join for free. And what is included, there's two facets. You can join as a practitioner for free, in which you get access to our networking events, our educational webinars, and those sorts of things. And then you can join as a public person, which means that you can access our holistic encyclopedia. So we have it's called the Holistopedia, and in there's 200 modalities, what their benefits are, what illnesses they work for, and so that's a wonderful tool and resource. So you get a free copy of that. You also get access to our Ask the Expert, which we host every month. It is for free. It is done online, and so we feature a bunch of experts that can answer questions about personal well-being. Sometimes it's about things that are specific, eating right and sleeping and those sorts of things, stress, anxiety. And so we have experts that we bring in, and we invite the public to hop on there. And again, that's for free. And then, of course, joining for free as a public member, you have access to be able to nominate somebody or yourself for our subsidy program. So if you're somebody who can't afford this type of care but know that you desperately need it, we can look and see what we have in our budget to be able to support you, or look at some different financing options for you.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Everything you are offering for free for our listeners, and I know I'll be joining as the public. Oh my goodness, what an opportunity. Oh, that is amazing. I love that. Oh, wow. Well, and another thing I saw on how you support your cause, it's AIMHH. Could you explain to our listeners what exactly that is and what those letters stand for?
Absolutely. So we call it AIM. And so AIM is the Association for Integrative Medicine and Holistic Healing. And so that was founded, actually, we just got approval for non-for-profit status in January. And that is the piece that is responsible for our public sector. So our public sector essentially is operated by a board, and we, through the non-for-profit, are now able to apply for some grant funding, because one of the challenges we've had is that we don't have the revenue in order to really support that subsidy program I talked about in a really big way. And although we've helped hundreds of people over the last handful of years, we want to help thousands and millions of people. And so being under a non-for-profit umbrella allows us to apply for some more grant funding so that we can create more robust educational programs and, of course, support our subsidy program so we can really, truly get the help for the people that really need it.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's incredible. Just a lot. That's how we run together with Divas, helping to make the world a better place. And that's just what you're doing. Oh,
yes.
That is
beautiful.
Just incredible. Love every moment
beautiful.
of that. Well, and then I also went to your Rose Hope site. And oh my goodness, you mentioned earlier about soul. Could you please explain to our listeners what is a soul care coaching?
Well, I was divinely called to provide a program that teaches people how to read the records for themselves and for others. So let me explain the Akashic records first and foremost. I actually found the Akashic records because I had gone through my 2 near-death experiences. And so when I was 5, I choked on a jawbreaker, and my dad actually brought me back to life. And then when I was 26, I was recovering from a knee reconstruction, and I fainted. My blood pressure dropped considerably, and I was surrounded by angels. It was the most euphoric, beautiful, and tangible, real experience of my life. And that shaped me. That shifted me to start really looking into my soul. And so as I went on my journey and what does soul mean and what is spirituality, and when I started my company, Your Holistic Earth, I had practitioners that would be like, oh, well, I do mediumship and I do the Akashic records. And honestly, I was a skeptic. I was like, I don't know, you guys, this sounds a little bit wacky. and because, of course, I had gone through very science-based education, right? And so I thought, I'm going to take the Akashic Records course just to see. Because if I'm promoting these practitioners who say that they do this work, I want to know that it's valid and credible. And so I took the program as a skeptic. And let me tell you, Joyce, it was like the floodgates opened up for me. So the Akashic Records is your book of life. It is your library, your soul's library from the time you left Source or God or whatever your belief system is till now. We get to access that library. And the magic in going into the Akashic Records is that we actually have a direct connection with God or source energy. So we get to tap into that wisdom and that knowledge and bring it into our conscious human mind. And so it elevates us, it upgrades us every time we go into the records. And in fact, some clients call them soul massages because we just so beautifully, delicately massage the soul and provide this upgrade. And so we can find and discover all sorts of things about past, present, and future. And so we are able to clear away old things that don't serve us anymore. We're able to get tools for what would help us and benefit us right now. And we're able to get clarity and direction in terms of what pathways look good for us moving forward. It's not about predicting the future per se because everything's energy, but it will give us pathways in which we would be in our highest vibrational state. It's very profound work, and so I've been now doing that for 6 years, very quietly, mind you. I only take clients through referral, or had up until this year. And so this year, I just got this really strong urge that you've got to teach other people how to read their records and how to read records for others. And so I use a process from Linda Howe. Linda Howe is extraordinary, and so I was trained under Linda Howe's program, How to Read the Akashic Records. And so I use pieces of Linda's teachings throughout mine. However, I incorporate other pieces of intuition, talking about angels and talking about spirit guides and, just kind of giving a little bit of everything so that people can kind of choose their pathway from there. So they get to kind of taste a little bit of everything. So there's 2 levels. There's one level you can take just level 1, which is kind of an introduction to the records, reading your own records, as well as your spirit guides and connecting with the angels. And then level 2 teaches you the actual soul care certificate program in which people learn how to read the records for others and use their intuition to help others to a place of their highest being. So that's what that program does for people. And tying this back into the meaning of life, I was one of those seekers, seeking, looking for this joy, this happiness, the meaning of life. I was struggling and trying so hard, thinking I was doing all the right things on a very human level and still yet feeling sad and depressed and lost. And what I've learned is that the meaning of life is already innately given to us. The meaning of life is not extrinsic of us. It is not out there in the people that you know. It is not out there in the financial abundance you have. It is not out there in the food you eat or the booze you drink or whatever that might be. The meaning of life is within us already. We just have to give ourselves permission to own that meaning for ourselves. So that was the discovery of what I found through this process. And let me tell you, it wasn't an overnight process. I've been doing soul work now for about 10 years. It's so powerful and profound to me because now I don't seek for validation or approval outside of myself. I give myself permission to just have it because it is innately given, just like happiness and joy are innately given within us. But we've been conditioned to believe that they're outside of us. We've been conditioned to believe that we need to be successful and we need to accomplish and we need to do in order to have meaning and purpose. We have meaning and purpose just by waking up in the morning, just by being in existence. We have meaning and purpose.
Oh my word, Dan, that is just beautiful. I just feel lifted up just listening to you through this interview. Oh, wow.
That's so wonderful. That's so wonderful.
Oh, that is just incredible.
One of the things that I speak to when I speak on stages is helping people to understand, what is their foundational purpose in life? Because I think, again, we get caught up in like, well, I have to have this career, I have to show up like this in life. And I say, one of the foundational principles in terms of why you're here is to shine your light on the people you come into contact with, to pour love into them, to lift them up in whatever way you can, because the ripple is infinite of that. And so I recognize that in anything that I do, in any interaction I have, my end game, my goal is that I have shone my light so brightly on them that they feel it within the core of their body and being so that they can then go pour that into somebody else.
Oh, how beautiful. And what rewarding work that has to be for you to have that feeling. Yes.
My cup
imagine.
Gets filled. My cup gets full. Like, I feel so good in doing that. And it to me, it's like, well, this is a no-brainer. Why doesn't everybody do this? And I'm not saying that you have, like, to deplete yourself and pour what you don't have. I fill my cup every day by honoring me first. I fill my cup by taking time for reflection. I fill my cup by doing yoga. I fill my cup by drinking water. I fill my cup by doing things that bring me joy. And so I'm not exhausting myself in pouring because I still have boundaries. Like, once I wrap my love around somebody, they don't have to keep taking from me, right? They're done. I've wrapped my love around them. And what happens is we have the dumpers and the drainers, right? And we're dumpers and drainers too, where we dump energy, bad, low vibration energy on other people, right? That's one way. Right. And then the other ones are the ones that drain. So that's like they latch on and they're not even in the room anymore. And yet in creating healthy boundaries about what you choose to take in and what you choose to give out, you're able to be in this flow where you are directly channeling perfect infinite energy from source, from God, all the time, so that you are constantly harnessing that beautiful energy and then using yourself as a channel, but not emptying out your own cup, so to speak. So there's a lot of tools and techniques, that I could get into. But that just kind of gives you a little bit of sense around the importance of setting those healthy boundaries to be able to really shine your light on other people.
Yes. Oh, how very well said. Oh, that is just beautiful. That just where it says on your Rose Hope, unlock your potential, elevate your life. You just explained the very tip of how you start to do that. Oh my goodness. That is just incredible. I just love every bit of that. That is so awesome to really And to take time for yourself first. You have to love yourself and care about yourself is what I am hearing in order to be able to help others.
That is number one. That is
yes.
number one. Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a shift that's taking place now, because I think, I look at my mother and my mother's mother, and they pour everything. They poured everything into a place where they were completely depleted and exhausted. And so things like cancer would manifest and illness would manifest because they were so depleted after giving of themselves, not realizing that they needed to set boundaries around that, not realizing that they could tap into that divine energy power at any given time. They just didn't know any better. And so now we're having this paradigm shift to understand that, like, putting myself first isn't actually selfish. Putting myself first allows me to show up for the world and be in full service for others.
Right. Oh, yes, how well said, because there's so many. How many of us women feel that if we put ourselves first, we're being selfish to everyone else? And a mindset, like you said, paradigm needs to shift, and we need to change that thinking. Oh, I love how you put that. That is just beautiful, beautiful.
We can't keep pouring from empty cups. It's making us sick, depressed, and depleted. So we can't keep doing that. If we really want to be in service and we really want to show up in this world, we need to fill our cups. And I mean, I'll say fill your cup all the time because people just, they understand that, like, okay, I need to make sure that I'm good. I cannot pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. Oh, how very well said. I love that. I just love that. Well, as we're drawing to the end of your interview, which has gone so quickly, oh my goodness, this was just so much fun. What tools or some little pieces of advice you would like to leave with our listeners today to help make their cup filled up?
Well, like I said, I'm just going to stress this because I don't think I can stress it enough, truly. We spend so much time running from our souls. We keep ourselves busy and distracted with addictions, with work, with food, with drugs, with whatever we need to resist going into our souls. But if we are brave enough to go into our souls, what happens is so incredibly magical and profound. The gifts that are given by going into our souls is so profound. And this starts with honoring yourself first, as I mentioned, but it also starts with understanding and looking at the world with an energetic lens, so shifting the lens. And I want to remind people, because sometimes they're like, oh, soul work, that's a pretty big deal. I don't want to go through trauma again, or I don't want to deal with what stuff is in there. But it is such a beautiful process, and it doesn't have to be all at once. This can be baby steps. This can be very, very subtle baby steps. And so reminding people that they can just take it as they need to. I mean, like I said, I've been on this journey for 10 years, and I would even argue since I was 5, since my first near death, I've been on this journey, and so it's not something that is meant to happen overnight. It's supposed to be a flowing, graceful process. And I think a lot of people think it needs to be this big, harsh, suffering piece, and it truly does not have to be that. So it can be baby steps. The other thing that I want to remind people of is that we all have divine gifts. We all have sacred gifts. And many of us just forget how special and powerful we are because we've given our power away. So I just want to remind the listeners out there that they have incredible, profound gifts. Trust me, you all do. Some of you are going to be sitting there thinking, well, not me. You do. Trust me, you do. And so, just reminding you of that is so important. And start unwrapping those gifts. Just slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race.
Oh, Deanne, those were just beautiful words to leave with our listeners today. Oh, those are just incredible. Yes, and unwrapping your gifts. We are each given talents and gifts. It's just unwrapping them and letting us use them, letting ourselves use them.
You've got it. Yes.
I just love that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Deanne Riando, for being my guest, and I hope you will return and keep us updated on your holistic health care. I know you have some books, you're doing a lot of speaking, your soul coaching. Oh my goodness. We definitely have to reconnect again.
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you so much, Joyce.
You are so welcome, Deanne. Thank you, and have a fabulous day.
You too.
Thank you. We will be posting all of Deanne's social media links to this podcast. I want to thank you all for listening to this interview with our amazing diva, Deanne Riando. Please share this show with your family and friends, along with telling them they may listen to Divas That Care podcasts on Spotify, Stitcher, Cloud, or any place they listen to podcasts. Be sure to check out all the amazing hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. Have a fantastic day. Remember, be kind to all. Give your animals a hug and share your love with them. Until next time, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.